Hello and welcome along to another episode of this FM19 story, The Head Coach with me, Daniel. It's Season 1, Episode 6, and today we play our first game at our new club for the second time this season. That's right, for those of you who have missed the story so far, go back and check out the first 5 episodes because they're action-packed and we did not start this save at Dungannon. There have been so many trials and tribulations already, but we're here today, back in the Northern Irish Premier League, where we had so much success in FM18 in the Head Coach. But this time we're with relegation strugglers Dungannon, trying to provide them with safety in the Northern Irish Premier League this season. In the last episode we met the squad after accepting a contract offer. We've seen all the players and we were trying to work out what sort of formation we could play because there were holes in so many areas of the pitch. But we have decided on one today, so I'll take you through that before we start the game. As I've mentioned before, it's the best part of the Head Coach, the variety it provides. You have to play a different way at every club depending on the players that are there and those that your director of football brings in, as we have no say in transfers or contracts at all. And in this instance, because of a mid-season move, we haven't even got the transfer window open, so our director of football couldn't do anything if he wanted to. But let's go and look at the lineup for today's game and we'll talk in depth about the tactic that we're going to use. For the second time this season, we're having a tactical briefing at a new club, so let's look at what we've come up with. You can see we're playing a 4-2-3-1, a formation we haven't yet played in the Head Coach or part of the furniture, my other FM19 save. So you can't say I'm not bringing you tactical variety, but because we're in a different league with some technically good players, and because we have so many deficiencies in other places, we're going to be playing a tiki-taka style. It's a style of football I'm not actually that fond of myself. I prefer the high press or the higher counter-attacking football. But today we've got to work with the players we've got, and until the January window opens and our director of football can do something, this is the way we're going to work. We have had to make some changes due to our wide midfielders and not having a great number 10, so we've had to drop a striker in there as well. Not everyone's in their preferred role, and we've got one absolutely awful player playing in centre midfield, as well as poor fullbacks, due to a lack of options at the club. So those of you who are with me in episode 5, you know we were debating which keeper we were going to play. None of them were particularly good, but we have gone in the end for the 39-year-old goalkeeping coach, Stuart Addis, and that's because he's a natural sweeper keeper, and I think it'll work better in this formation. And as a result, Alex Moore on loan from Linfield has to settle for a place on the bench for now. You can see some of the tactical setup we've got. We're going to try and control the games a little bit, just having that 3 in midfield and 2 wide men who are fairly good on the ball too. We're going to try and pass the ball short, or we're going to try and play out from the back. The one thing we did mention in the last episode was that our 2 centre-halves were both very good on the ball, which is something that's so unusual at this level. They're actually better on the ball than they were defenders, to be honest. We're going to try and work the ball into the box as you'd predict, and we're going to try and play a lower tempo, just keeping possession and working teams from side to side. I did want to play vertical tiki-taka at first, because that was a lot easier because you were still a bit more direct, but I just haven't got the players to do it, particularly up front where we lack pace. The only one that's not usually on that I've adapted in terms of in possession is the waste time occasionally. And that's just because we've got a few old boys. We need to keep their fitness up, particularly in attacking areas up front with McAllister. And we've also got a 39-year-old keeper who's going to be running in and out of the back. So just until January, we're going to waste time a little bit. And then if we manage to get a couple of players in, we'll take that back too. The one thing we really need in January is a deep line playmaker with quality. Wilson's the best of the bunch in that role, so he's the one playing there. With our quick wingers and box-to-box midfielder, we're also going to try ambitiously to counter-press when we lose the ball, but then we'll hold our shape once we've lost and they've managed to get out. We're going to try and roll it out and distribute via the centre-halves. As we've mentioned, they're good on the ball, so why not try it? And we're also going to try to engage the team a bit higher up the pitch, particularly in an attacking sense. So we do risk leaving a bit of a hole in the middle there. You can see the colour's gone a little bit red where we're leaving gaps. But we're going to try it for a little while. We've got 2 weeks until January. We're playing teams we're not expected to beat, so we'll just see how it works and see if this tactical setup's something that could work. And then, of course, it could all be ruined in January if our director of football brings in entirely different players. So that's the tactical setup for this game. If you do have any more questions about it or want to see more, then just ask me and we'll have a look in more detail at certain parts. I know it's something that's been a bit of a talking point this year because of such a big tactical overhaul in the game for FM19, so I understand there'll be some questions, and if you have any, just let me know. The one other thing I have been asked a few times is about the leagues I have loaded for this. And luckily now, because we're on quite a good PC, we've managed to load a few. So I'll just show you what we've got done at the moment. If we go to the ad remove leagues, we won't change anything at the moment. But I said I had most of the leagues in Europe loaded, and I'm not lying there. All of the teams that have got at least 1 or 2 teams I recognise from being regulars in the Europa League group stages or above, we keep them in. There's also a couple of countries where I've got soft spots for teams and keep them in. We've obviously kept the most local leagues to England, which has benefited us here, because with our reputation and nationality, these are the most likely moves, so we have to expect that and have the leagues ready for it. We've also got the second league loaded in some of the biggest nations, such as Italy, Germany, France, Spain, and a couple of leagues outside of Europe as well. Some of the main talking point ones, or ones that can be a swan song at the end of our career, as we're petering out. If all goes to plan in 20 or 25 years' time, we've got Australia, China, and I think we've got the MLS in there as well. So there's plenty of options for us, and hopefully we won't keep getting sacked so we don't have to keep going down and can start to use some of these higher reputation leagues. So with all those bits done, let's get into the game. We'll run through the lineup quickly. We've mentioned some of them already. We've got Addis in goal as the sweeper keeper. We've got O'Rourke and Lowe at fullbacks, the weakest position on pitch as a whole. We've got Dykes and Hegarty, the two ball-playing central defenders. We've got a box-to-box midfielder, the star man in Clucas. He is a ball-winning midfielder naturally, but he's got high aggression and I don't need any more red cards. We've got Dougie Wilson in the holding role, as we've mentioned, as a deep-line playmaker. Campbell and Tegger out wide, star players for us, and hopefully they can produce too. With Daniel Hughes, the natural striker, playing in the advanced midfield role as a shadow striker, just behind our deep line forward, McAllister. You may have noticed in my starting lineup today, Hughes and McAllister are the only two players to have scored a goal this season. There are a few others at the club, a couple of midfielders on the bench, and Suarez, one of the injured strikers. But only two players in the starting lineup have actually scored a goal this season. So this is going to be a little bit harder than we think. And we're playing last season's champions Crusaders in the first game, before a massive game against Coleraine, who we had so much success with in FM18. Click on the eye above to go and check that out, because it was a brilliant 2 years at the club we had. But enough reminiscing for now, we've got a job to do in the present. We're here at Dungannon and we're going to Crusaders, the champions. Let's get into the first game and see if we can pull off an absolute shock. Okay, two different variations of the 4-5-1/4-3-3. Hopefully ours will work, it's the slightly more attacking one. Let's go and cause an upset as the underdogs, and we've even got a tunnel interview. Taking a pay rise and going to a slightly higher reputation league is an absolutely brilliant change for getting sacked in the Vanarama National League South. As you know, I wasn't particularly enjoying my time at Hemel Hempstead, despite them being my most local club and really wanting to succeed there. And as a result, we've just got to hope that we can start on fire here. But it's Crusaders with the ball just 10 seconds in with a cross from the left, but luckily the cross curls out for a goal kick, and we managed to survive the early scare. Well, this is a boring game. It's Crusaders with a free kick which goes wide. We've skipped nearly 25 minutes so as not to bore you. We're on extended highlights and that's the first one we've had since that first 10 seconds. Hughes knocks it down from a free kick. Clucas shoots but it's blocked wide. And that's the first clear-cut chance of the match. It's not gone down as one, but it was a good opportunity and we've produced it, so that's a good sign. Neither team's had a shot on target yet, hence the lack of highlights. So we're not going to be too concerned about how things are going, as a draw would be a good result. We're in stoppage time, we're almost at the break, it's been an appalling game. I've just noticed they've got Ross Clark on the right wing, a player that we had at Coleraine as a backup player. Not a star of that save, but nice to have a recognisable name early on, as we obviously didn't join Coleraine in the last series till what would be 4 years in the future from here. But 0-0 at half time, we're really pleased with the performance. We haven't conceded a shot on target and we've had the only one of the game. We've been told to inform the team that we've been the better team in that half, so that's a great news for us, providing we can trust our assistant manager. Clucas has got the early possession in the second half. Nice switch of play to Taggart, but the highlight ends. And to be honest, as much as it's not the best spectacle to watch, I'd be quite happy with no more highlights. Clucas has a free kick from 35 yards. It was a fantastic strike and it's just been tipped wide by the keeper. Taggart with the outswinging corner now, sorry. McAllister gets it after a couple of bobbles around and his header is straight at Thompson, the keeper. But 3 shots on target and they've all been for us. And at the hour mark, it's 0-0. Just 10 minutes to go, nothing's happening still, we're going to make a couple of changes. This has been one of the dullest games I've ever seen in any edition of Football Manager. On extended highlights I've seen absolutely nothing. We're going to see who's best in the playmaking role out of these two sub-midfielders before I make the change. We've got a 3-star player in Ryan Harper, but he's not great as the holding player. And we've also got Corey McMullen, who's a little bit better, but he's poor overall. So I'm going to bring on Harper just to shore things up. I'm not sure if he's any good in that role, but as long as he can do a job for 10 minutes, we're all right. I was just checking if Clucas was any better, but he's not. We're also going to bring off the 32-year-old Teggart for McElroy. We mentioned that was a position where we had two absolute superstars, but unfortunately they play the same position and can't cover in other areas too well. So as a result, we can't do anything with that. And we're going to bring on Big Johnny Lafferty up front. He's a natural target man. We looked at his attributes in the last episode. We'll briefly look again. He's so good in the air and absolutely terrible at most other things. So we're just going to try and get the ball into him in the box. I don't know what his best duty is. Attack's fine. So we'll get straight back into that and see if we can nick a winner. The one other thing we're going to do is we've got a goal kick there. We're going to go to our team instructions and we're going to try and float the ball into the box because of the big striker. But other than that, we're just seeing out time. You can see how the fullbacks are spreading for the short goal kick. I absolutely love that, although I didn't enjoy that pass from Hegarty. Oh, he's given the goal away. Oh, what was that? I love the short kick out, but why would you try and switch the ball on the edge of your own box, sorry? Absolutely disastrous, and in a game where we've been absolutely the better side. That's their first shot on target in the match after 84 minutes and they're going to win 1-0. Absolutely pathetic defending, and maybe we have to rethink the ball playing defenders because a good passing stat doesn't necessarily mean a sensible player. Harper's got the ball in the middle to Clucas. Clucas back to Hegarty, who's got the ball in the middle. Can he go forward this time? He can to Campbell. Campbell's surely been fouled there, but it's been given away. And now they're through 1-1, and we're starting to see why Dungannon is struggling. As soon as we let in a goal, we start to collapse. McElroy with a cross from the right. Headed away, I thought it was, but it went straight into the keeper's hands. Little bit of a glitch there, or just a very strange bit of play. But it's still 1-0 to Crusaders. Although I've got to say, there's so much optimism I can take from this one. Crusaders are coming in down the left again. They have started to dominate since the goal, and they've wasted another great chance there with Forsyth. But for 84 minutes, we've been by far the better side, and there's a lot I can look forward to with this team. Addis gives the ball to Hegarty again. He's gone forward sensibly this time to Clucas, and he's giving it away now. Hegarty's gone route one, which is better, and Lafferty's in. Can he score? Oh, he's put it over. What a ball from Hegarty in the end. And what a waste of a great chance from Lafferty. We could have nicked a draw, but this has been a really promising performance. Hegarty's given the ball away again. I've got to look. I'm sure we had a 12 for passing. He does. He's 12 for passing and 11 for vision. So I'm not quite sure what's going on there. Maybe he's just having a shocking game generally. But it's headed away by McElroy, and unfortunately that probably is going to be it as their time waste with 30 seconds to go. They're playing very dangerously at the back there, but it looks like two teams playing football, so fair play to them as well. It's been a quite poor game for 80 minutes, but we were the better side in it, and I've got a lot to look forward to in the second half of the season, because I think we can get this side up to mid-table comfortably. Just the goal kick to come, and then I think that'll be the whistle. It's all over. A horrendous individual mistake gives away the game. It's a 1-0 defeat, but we were a very good side in that one. And I'm quite happy with the squad looking forward. So plenty of optimism around, even if not from the fans, certainly from me. So no points in our first game at the club, but plenty of promise, and we'll be back in a second for a reunion at Coleraine. Okay, we're back for the second of this double header, our second game in charge at Dungannon. We're going away to Coleraine, a club that in an alternate universe in FM18 we had such success with and such a great spell. One of my most enjoyable seasons of FM in years. So I'm hoping that it'll be a great occasion, although I'd still quite like to nick a result. A win today could take us out of the relegation playoff place above ours, providing that Coleraine's rivals Ballymena United do something to help us against them. So let's have a look at the team we've got out for this one. Just the one change for it, and I'll tell you why as well. Carl McGinty in central midfield, a player we mentioned before the last game who was a bit tired. Someone who we thought could play well in this deep lying role. He's not natural at it as a player, but you can see he's got that passing ability and the vision. And he's also fairly quick if we need to cover at the back as well. He's coming in for Dougie Wilson, and the reason for that, we've had a little chat with him. He was the best trainer at the club this week. So his rating was a 7.95, which compared to other clubs I've been at isn't great, but it's so much better than anyone else at this club, and he looks like one of the few players who really wants to grasp a chance. And that's exactly what this feature was supposed to do for me in FM19, is find those young players who are coming through with high potential, who are really training hard and trying to reach their peak. And we want to give them an opportunity and reward them, especially for a period of 2 weeks where there's absolutely nothing between the other players that are in that role. So it seemed like the perfect opportunity to give him a chance. It's a game we're expected to lose, but hopefully we can at least put on as good a performance as we did in the last game against Crusaders, although eventually those performances have to turn into points. So let's get into it and see if we can pull off a shock. There we go, two identical formations, so many familiar names and heroes from my previous save last season. Chris Johns in goal, Lyndon Kane at fullback, Kieran Harkin, Aaron Burns, they're all still there. What a bunch of legends they were. But we can't let that affect us today, we've got to be professional. We're still going to try and pull off a shock. We're playing exactly the same tactical setup as we did in the last game. As you can see, it worked really well for 80 minutes. We restricted the opposition Crusaders so well. And then ourselves, we created a few chances. It's just that we've got strikers out of form, unfortunately. So I didn't realise when I came to the club, as we've gone through the tunnel interview, that both McAllister and his substitute Hegarty have gone on a huge run without goals. They're on a goal drought, and they both missed a great chance in that game. So that explains that. Only Daniel Hughes has been scoring recently, and he's playing in the number 10 for us. It's a free header at the front post for Coleraine, but it's straight at Addis, the keeper, who can hold. And I love the way the centre-halves are split in there for the rollout. Throw it out to the left. That's not throwing it to the centre-half, but we'll take it. It was a great ball to Teggart. Clucas into Hughes, back to McGinty. McGinty, can he prove his worth in the side? Out to O'Rourke. Fullback still the weak areas. It's a penalty. Early doors. McAllister's going to take it. Is he the best at the club? He is, so we're just going to leave him to it. Please let the goal drought be over. Don't let it affect the penalty. It would be the perfect start and really kick us off in this career in total. Oh, it's straight at the keeper. It's an awful penalty. What are you doing, man? And we should have given it to Daniel Hughes. He's a much worse rating, but he's got goals, and that's the most important thing. They just can't buy a goal for love nor money, even though they've been absolutely brilliant. Hughes finds Dykes to centre-half. Dykes has a shot saved. Campbell's got it on the right, goes back to Teggart. Teggart's going to get it into Clucas on the edge, shoots, and it's over. And I just feel like if we could get one goal, the floodgates would open and we'd suddenly have 3 or 4 in no time. But a brilliant start to the game aside from the missed penalty, and it's still 0-0. Cleared away on the right by Chris Johns to Lyndon Kane. Flicks it on to Carson, who goes back to Kane again. Now Lowry in the middle out to Carson. They are so much a better side than Crusaders, despite being below them in the league. They're playing much better football at the moment. Carson on the right again as they start to dominate. Finds McCauley, the player we sold in last year's game. Addis makes a great save from him. It's back to Carson again, but it's blocked. It's very desperate last-ditch stuff in the penalty area for us, but the highlight ends and we survive at 0-0. Another long spell without a highlight as we're coming into half-time. McGinty's looking a bit nervous, the youngster, but that's natural. We're going to keep him on, and we're going to keep our faith with Mark McAllister for 15 more minutes. We'll see what his reaction to this is. We'll see if we can talk to him individually just for this occasion. We're going to say passionate to say, you weren't that bad, but I believe in you. I've got faith. His reaction didn't change at all, which is a little bit annoying, but he's a team leader at the club, so we have to look after him. The other poor performer's Chris Lowe, the right back, but we have no other options. He's our joint worst player in the starting 11. One of the things we have got a problem with here is a lot of the players have got a previous unhappiness due to a lack of depth in midfield. Something we've highlighted ourselves. That's why one of the young kids is playing in there at the moment, after Wilson had an average game in the last one. But we just haven't got that depth. If we had someone good alongside Clucas, I really feel we could dominate games. Even though we'd get exposed at fullback occasionally, we'd still dominate quite a lot of the matches. But as it is, it's out to Lyndon Kane on the left. It's headed away. Lowe flicks it on again, but Harkin's got the ball in the middle. He's drifting out towards that left flank, but Campbell makes an excellent tackle. I'm so proud of the way they're playing, and I feel like this is going to be a really positive move. And now, as I say that, Daniel Hughes, the number 10, the star man at the club, 4.5-star ability, and he has got injured. And what sort of injury is it? A potential knee injury. That could be really bad as well. I don't know who's best in the number 10 out of them. Harper's not great. Corey McMullen, is he any better? Not really. I don't know who to bring on, to be honest. We're going to just try each of them in turns and see which one's better. He's not very good at any of them, is McMullen. Let's try Harper in there. Has he got any more ability in any of the roles? No, but he's a better player. So we're going to put him as an attacking midfielder on attack, just to try and work hard and get him behind. We're also going to take McAllister off because he's just getting worse. And we'll bring on Johnny Lafferty again as that target man up front. Wasted a glorious chance in the last game and hopefully he won't again. The last thing we're going to do in possession is we're going to get the ball in as floated crosses, as we did in the last tie, to try and help Lafferty out. And hopefully it will make an impact for us. Past the hour mark, Teggart's got a free kick on the right, whips it in, Harper loses out and is cleared. And now on the counter, they've got about 5-on-2 here. How slow are we to get back? McCauley finds the ball out to Carson on the right. There's 3-on-2 in the middle, lays it for Mullen, it deflects, and I thought it was going to be another own goal, but unfortunately it's not. I say another own goal, I don't know why I've said that, because there haven't been any others. McCauley gets it out to Burns on the left. Burns crosses it into the middle, which Hegarty heads away. Falls for Harkin on the edge. Good effort, but straight at the keeper, Addis. We've really got to be careful here. We might give McGinty 5 more minutes and then take him off the young lad. He's still looking nervous. Wilson did a decent job in the last game, so we've got no problem with him. The ref helps us win the ball back there. The ball falls to Harper 30 yards out. Back to McGinty. Tries to thread it through, but it falls to Lyndon Kane. McGinty gets there again, no, and his cross is deflected. And it's cleared away again, long over the top. Can we deal with it with Dykes at the back there? Backs to Addis, the goalkeeper. He's playing it very comfortably at the back. A good experienced man to have. And I'm starting to fall in love with this style of football, to be honest. The long balls up towards Lafferty are aimless, and I don't know why we're playing them in a retained possession formation. Macaulay back to Carson. This highlight's never ending. Carson has the shot, and it's gone just wide. And with 20 odd minutes to go, it's still 0-0, and we're going to think about bringing McGinty off now. He's had a good spell, but with just over 15 minutes to go, we need to make the sub. Dougie Wilson will come on for him, and hopefully we can see out at least a point in this one. Although it could have been so much more without that penalty. We've probably not played as well as we did against Crusaders, and we've certainly not restricted Coleraine as well. But if we can get the result out of it, we won't care. Teggart on the left gets it in over the top. It's headed away, falls to Harper on the volley. What a strike that is. I mean, the keeper should have saved it, but the strike itself was fantastic. The technique looked great, and the match engine looked really cool doing it, to be fair. He's lovely strike into the bottom corner, and we're 1-0 up at Coleraine. We're going to keep controlling the game because it's the style we love, and hopefully with a couple of minutes to go, we can pull off an absolute miracle here at our former club from FM18. It's an absolutely glorious result we're on course for, but it's a long clearance by Burns, headed away. Long clearance by John, it was towards Burns. It's Parkhill on the right wing, trying to get across him, but it's blocked by the full-back and it's brought away. And with just 2 minutes of stoppage time to go, we want to hold on. If we survive this attack, we're going to go containing. We're just going to go full time wasting. But they've got the ball in the left-back area, they've brought it forward, giving it away to Lowe. Aimless ball over the top, but Lafferty chases it, and Lyndon Kane, the captain, clears for Coleraine. Falls for Campbell on the right-hand side, who goes back to Lowe. Long ball over, Lafferty's in. If he could score, that would be great, but he's offside. If he could have ended the goal drought, that would have been brilliant for us, but it's not to be, and unfortunately, it's still 1-0. We're going to change things a little bit here. Time wasting frequently is the most important one there. Nothing else changes in that regard, and we're going to go very defensive as well, just for the last minute and a half. The ball's up clearance, but it's gone towards Teggart, who heads away. It's Pimble in the middle, but we've missed a header there, and they're in one-on-one. Macaulay's going to cross. Surely this is it for them. Deflects off a great block. And it was from their own man. We're not breaking too much sweat, it says at the bottom. I'll tell you what, I'm breaking sweat watching this. I couldn't be more nervous. Addis is time wasting, the 39-year-old using all his experience. And I will happily commentate for hours while he ponders over that goal kick. Feeds it lovely to Lowe in the end. His passing attribute must be brilliant. Lowe gets the ball on the right to McGinty. McGinty still on the pitch. I didn't go with the substitution in the end. We did look like we were going to do it, but it didn't go through. We just kept things simple because he's having a good game and he has improved. Clucas wins the ball back in the middle, and we will actually bring him off after this just as a chance to make the time-wasting sub. Taggart finds Lafferty on the edge of the box. Back to Clucas. Campbell got the ball 25 yards out. The game's over. We don't need to make the sub. We've won our first game at Dungannon. What a monumental performance that was. We missed an early penalty, but we nicked it 1-0. And I think you'll agree, this side looks very good for a side that's second bottom in the league. We had an absolutely fantastic performance. And although it's a bit of a shame to beat our former side from FM18, that we had so much joy with, we can't argue with what we're doing here at Dungannon. And I am really optimistic now that getting out of Hemel Hempstead via the sack was a really good move for us. We got our mutual consent payment, and now we've landed on our feet with a pay rise, a new country, a new job, and a brilliant squad. Let's quickly look at what they've said about the game. Fortunate to beat them, but we were unfortunate to lose against Crusaders, so it swings and roundabouts there. Daniel Hughes is injured, and it says potentially serious, 7 to 8 weeks. And that's going to give us something to think about. Although Harper came on and scored an absolute worldie. So he's a man we could well have in that attacking midfield role. We're going to praise him to try and get some more men on side. We'll deal with the press conference off camera. And let's go and look at our schedule for when we're going to come back. We'll try and skip a fair few games now, just because this season has ended up being longer as a result of all the job changes and drama. So we'll probably come back around February time, maybe again for a Crusaders game, and depending on how we get on in the Cup, we might have a big game there too. And then I can see the last game before the league splits Linfield, so that's a must come back for. And hopefully by those 2 episodes, we'll be in a far better position, and we'll have some new signings to talk about too. But that will be all for this episode. If you did enjoy it, please put a thumbs up on the video. Let me know in the comments what you think of our new side. What are your opinions on the tactic we've set up? And if you played Tiki-Taka before, because I never have, even in previous editions of Football Manager, I've never really played the ultra short passing game. So let me know how you make it work. And let me know what you think of the way I've customised it at Dungannon. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager content from FM19, from this Head Coach series, as well as our other FM19 story part of the furniture. A massive thank you to everyone for watching and following the series as always, and we'll see you next time.